Hi, this is Max and it's wonderful to have you here. If you would like to know how to create the basis for this mini album from just one piece of paper, stay tuned and I will show you exactly how to do this right after this intro. Hi and welcome to this week's tutorial about a mini album. This is an album for beginners and those of you who already want to go a little bit further. We will start with a piece of cardstock 12 by 12 inch and the rest will follow in a moment. We first fold the paper in half vertically and horizontally and then each half of one side towards the middle again. By this we just created 8 rectangles that will build up the pages for our mini album. By a cut in the middle we will already come to the easiest version and I have some pictures for you how this could look like. I will show you how to fold this in a moment because we also have to do this for a more advanced version. As you can see, these albums are very cute, but I want to show you how to go a little bit further. And so we are going to pimp up this very basic version now. We take the paper as it is now and score it again at 1.5 inches from each side. So we are shortening the pages of this album by creating a pocket on the bottom of each page. Using a border punch by Steward will give the pocket a fancy look. But overall this is not a must, having a plain border would also do. Having done this on both sides, we can proceed with embellishing the pages by using 4 6 by 6 inch designer papers of your choice. We are cutting them to be 1/4 of an inch smaller than the pages of the album. Then we are cutting them at 5 inch and are using the rest for the small pockets on the bottom of each page. The size will vary depending on if and what border punch you have used. And here's the cut in the middle that I already mentioned before. It divides the paper only in the middle so that we can fold it in half and pull the middle score lines at each side to the outsides. This is how we got to the simple pages that we have seen before, but this time with a pocket on each page. But this leads to a very ugly and thick spine, and so we are cutting the paper again between the 2 rectangles at the upper right hand side. These are now our first and last page, and when folding the pages again we get a much neater spine. Next we will be caring about the design paper. I'm first putting all 8 pieces on the bases to see how they fit best, and then lay them around the bases according to their dedicated positions. When we will be gluing the pages together later on, we will be creating some pockets at the top and the side. In order to push and pull something in and out of these pockets, I'm punching some notches using my envelope punch board. But it is essential to line up the design paper with the cardstock at these edges before punching them together. So the design paper will still be slightly smaller than the basis page, also at that notch. As we cut the cardstock between the first and the last page of our album, we will now need a cover. And to connect the cover with the pages, I'm cutting 2 flaps in the size of the pages and then adhering them to the open edges of the first and the last page. Because I love suit edges, I just did that in between and here's the result. Literally, you do not have to do this. This is simply my personal favorite, but the album can surely do without it too. And now we will focus on the cover. We will be creating this out of heavy chipboard that is approximately 1/4 of an inch bigger than the pages of the booklet. I'm using simple scrap paper that matches the design papers to wrap both of the pieces. Please leave at least 1 inch around the chipboard to being able to adhere the paper properly to it. I'm adhering the paper to the chipboard pieces using matte medium gel. This works best for me as it is easy to apply and evenly adheres the paper to the chipboard. When cutting the corners of the paper, I'm not cutting it directly at the corners of the chipboard. The paper shall at least be that much bigger that the chipboard is thick. I'm using double-sided tape on all the edges. On the edges of the chipboard to fix the paper as close to the edge as possible, and on the edges of the paper to adhere the accessing flaps as far outside as possible. To get a very crisp edge, I'm sliding the paper very firmly along the table and wrapping the paper flaps around the chipboard by doing so. After that, I'm pressing the paper down with my bone folder. The excess on the corners will now be folded inwards before we are folding the smaller edges in the same way we did before. For the inside of the covers, we are again using design paper that we are cutting 1/4 of an inch smaller than the cover itself. We could leave it as it is, but I thought that we could build some pockets here as well. And because we have enough scrap paper around, you can see me wrapping 1/2 around the design paper, building such a pocket. I'm cutting them diagonally and using my Martha Stewart punch again on the edge. The flaps to glue the pages to the cover I will be hiding behind the design paper. And because I sewed the other pages, I also have to do it here. That's why you see me adhering only the inner edge of the pocket. Otherwise I would not be able to sew the design paper. All of you that did not do that are lucky and can directly proceed to glue down the whole pocket at once. But please, not onto the design paper, but behind it by wrapping the flaps around it. That's simply looking much better. And here is an overview over the whole piece that we have done so far. We will now be gluing the pages together. Please only apply the glue to these edges, as you will otherwise have difficulties with the pockets. And to bring the pages together real tight, I'm using these clips and let it dry for a while. Before adhering the whole booklet to the cover, we will be inking the edges first. And I'm using Walnut stained distressing for this. I'm adhering the inside to the outside cover with double-sided tape again and burnish the edges with the bone folder. I'm using satin band as a closure and glue this to the back cover before adhering it to the rest. And finally we also bring the two pieces of the back cover together. For the top and side pockets we are now creating some photo mats. You want to cut them slightly smaller than the pockets so that they can slide smoothly into them. In case you only have thin design paper like me, double it as I'm doing here. And finally I'm using the corner chomper so that the photo mats fit perfectly into the top and side pockets. To cover the spine we are now using the rest of this paper. To give it the same look as the rest of the album, I'm again using the border punch. 2 score lines in the width of the spine will make it easier to fold and adhere it to the album. As you can see here, I'm using a big marker to round it a little bit. This piece of paper will not be holding anything, so I'm just using the tape runner to stick it down. I removed the photo mats to adhere the cover for the spine, but now they can go back again. And finally I'm cutting some tags for the pockets on the bottom of each page, and I'm using 2 punches by Stampin' Up! To create 2 different shapes for these. It's not necessary to have a tag in each pocket. The pockets can also be used to put tickets, photos and other stuff into them. And so, we created this album step by step from a very simple basic mini to a more advanced version. I hope that I was able to show you the points where you have different options so that you can decide for yourself now what degree of detail fits best to you and your skills. As mentioned before, sewing is my preference, but not everybody can do that, nor is it necessary for creating an album like this. And it's also not necessary to use a border punch. Using a zigzag scissor or even leaving a plain border would also do. A lot is possible, but only few is necessary. And I guess that's it for this week. I hope you had fun, especially those of you who asked for something like this. And if you are new to this channel, I would love to have you subscribe, because every week I will have new ideas for you. And as you can see, I take suggestions and wishes of my subscribers very serious. So if you have more suggestions or questions, or if you would simply like to tell me how wonderful or even crappy the stuff is that I'm doing here, just go ahead and use the comment field for this. And if you haven't already seen them, try out the proposed videos on this page. Or if you are watching this on a mobile device, use the card that pops up now. So there's nothing more to say than have a good week and hope to see you soon. Bye bye!